Imagine for a moment what it would take to successfully ban all the spicy videos in a country with powerful law enforcement agencies like the United States. Here's what would happen in 3 simple steps. Step 1. The crackdown. To start with, you need to stop the production of porn by business enterprises, forcing at minimum every person who's ever attended the Ehidiamhen Awards in professional capacity to immediately find a new line of work. Next, you need to find a way to stop a slew of high-profile, incredibly lucrative websites from posting, hosting, or otherwise distributing explicit material. After you crack down on the pros, you would need to go after amateurs by finding some way to stop tens of millions of iPhone-wielding Americans from making home movies, many of which would resemble professional products in quality, and then stop them from distributing them anonymously online or even amongst trusted circles of friends. To be at all effective, you would also need to enforce criminal penalties against former professionals who continue to produce porn for the black market. And you need to penalize thrill-seeking amateurs as well, which would mean going after and perhaps locking up a wide array of sympathetic and otherwise law-abiding individuals from all walks of life, whose only crime was to record and distribute consensual sexual activity. You'd also need to punish illicit viewers whose numbers could easily reach into the tens of millions. Step 2. The blowback. This project would be difficult and unpopular, and there would be no guarantee that it would work at all. It would work in the short term to limit access to pornographic content, but then many of the most popular domestic hubs for porn would probably move to protected locations overseas. And it is at least plausible that if you devoted sufficient public resources and effort on the part of law enforcement, you might, emphasis on might, be able to reduce if not eliminate porn consumption. Even if such a ban worked in the narrow sense of reducing the viewership, you would inevitably also leave a thriving black market on private websites, in hush-hush DVD distribution networks, in windowless basement studios, and countless other forums designed to avoid the attention of the porn police. Hi! I'm so sorry to interrupt your video, and I'm sure you were enjoying yourself, but while I enjoyed making this episode, I'm not exactly sure if YouTube will like it and if they will allow it to be monetized. So if you'd like to support the channel, please go ahead and leave a donation in our BuyMeACoffee account. Link is in the description. Thank you very much. And now let's get back into the rest of step 2. As porn moves on the ground, the production would almost certainly become less safe for performers working in illegal operations. Those performers would also be at risk of legal punishment. The product itself, meanwhile, would most likely skew towards fringe and perhaps even dangerous tastes, as well as conventional viewers with conventional tastes that existed previously on the market. Without legal distinctions, it's not too hard to imagine a greater risk in, or at least acceptance of, child pornography amongst the more risk-seeking porn consumers who remain. Making and watching porn would become a criminal act, and so its production and viewing would become far more associated with existing criminal activity, in some cases of the violent sort. Porn may be viewed less than it is now, but it would still be popular, and its price would rise as a result of the costs of prohibition. Black market porn would create a flush new revenue system and stream for individuals and organizations comfortable working outside of the law, helping to fund all sorts of other illicit activities, not all of which would be consensual. Step 3. The realization. Law enforcement, if it took prohibition seriously, would end up spending a considerable share of its available time and resources cracking down on legal porn makers and consumers, many of whom, in the age of ubiquitous high-quality camera phones, would be the same people. For prohibition to be effective, authorities would need new powers to surveil and arrest, as well as new oversight over popular technologies, and countless other new ways to intrude on the private lives of citizens. Porn prohibition, in other words, would look a lot like other types of prohibition, especially bans on alcohol and drugs. And when you call for banning pornography with slogans like "Let's ban porn," that sort of prohibition environment is what you're calling for. The creation of a massive, potentially dangerous black market that fuels other types of criminality. In conclusion, a porn ban then is a prohibition that might not work on its own terms, and would in any case leave us in a world in which porn is darker and more dangerous for everyone involved, much like it did to alcohol during the prohibition in America. The real barrier to banning pornography, the objection that matters, is not cultural defeatism or lack of public will. It is that attempting to ban porn would at best be a foolish, expensive, and futile project, and at worst a path to a new and radically expanded police state devoted to punishing people for engaging in acts of consensual self-expression. Which, when we get into the question of self-expression and the idea that porn is currently protected by free speech laws, which I didn't want to get into because that can be summed up as an ideological issue, even if it is an important one, the fact is a federal war on porn would be just as winnable as a federal war on drugs and alcohol. In other words, as history has taught us, not really winnable at all.